Hi student, in this video you are going to learn how energy enter, flow within, and then leave the ecosystem. First, I want to remind you about mesocosm. Do you remember it? So mesocosm is basically a fully sealed container, which means it doesn't get any supply of materials or nutrients from the outside of this mesocosm. So it's a closed system. But the container must be transparent, as you can see from this picture, and placed near to the sunlight. Why? So that it will receive enough amount of sunlight. Because mesocosm, as a representative of closed ecosystem like our Earth, can recycle nutrients. Well, really, we never receive like meteorites come to the world, to the Earth, but they are never become the major nutrients for us. But what will happen at the end of the world if the sun stops shining or we don't get enough supply of energy? Because why? Energy always enters the ecosystem, flows within it, and finally leaves from the world. So that's why we need continuous support or supply of sunlight. And another reminder is about how food produced by plants contain energy. If you still remember, plants use carbon dioxide and water as the raw materials for photosynthesis. And because of the sunlight, they create such a complex molecule where there are lots of extra bonding. So this energy from the sunlight is stored in the bonding between the atoms. That's how food produced by plant contains lots of energy. The energy is located in the bonding between the atoms. So this is what will happen in an ecosystem or in a small scale in mesocosm. So energy enter as the light energy for most ecosystems. So this energy is captured by autotroph through photosynthesis and becomes organic matter or the body of plants. If you eat spinach, it means that you eat the food or the organic materials that contain energy from the leaves of the spinach. And then this body of plants become the source of energy for consumers. So, the energy in the organic matter, the autotrophs, will become something that can be eaten by consumers and be part of their body. So, if the plant is consumed, like the spinach, alive or freshly cooked, it means that it is eaten by consumers. And now the food enters the body of the consumers and can be part of the body of the consumers. As you know, you are growing because the food that you eat. Next, then you will see another part of the diagram. There are two arrows here. So the detritus that comes from the autotroph and consumers, do you still remember detritus? The dead parts of plants and consumer, feces of consumers, or decomposing that organism becomes source of energy for the decomposer. And again, when the decomposer eat that detritus, it will become part of their body. Now their body can contain also organic materials that has some energy. Now, the first diagram that you just saw is just simple diagram. Now, let's see in the real diagram of what happened in ecosystem. So, in real life, during the day, the sun will give this, its light energy for the grass, and the grass will grow and has more organic matters that contain energy. And the grasshopper will eat the grass. It means that now the food plus its energy enter the body of the grasshopper. And then also, this grasshopper can be eaten by the frog. So that now the energy from in form of food from the grasshopper will enter the body of the frog. And so on and so forth, go to the snake, and snake go to the final one, which is the hawk. And then remember, all this, snakes, frog, grasshopper, even the autotroph or producers, can create detritus that can be the food for the decomposer. All right. Now, so this is what we call food chain. Okay, all this pattern or this diagram is called food chain. So what is food chain? Food chain is a hierarchical series of organisms, each depend on the next as a source of energy. The position of organism in food chain is called trophic level. So be ready with new terminology. Again, autotrophic, phototrophic, autotrophic, heterotrophic are the terminology to classify them based on how they eat. But in this terminology, the new terminology are based on the position of organism in the food chain. All right. So the position of organism in the food chain could be a producers, okay, which means that autotrophic organisms that serve as source of food for other organisms in food chain. The rest could be very easy. Primary consumers means organism that eats the producers. Secondary consumer means organism that eats the primary consumer. And tertiary consumers mean organism that eat the secondary consumers. So again, I have to repeat, energy enters ecosystem, flows within it, and finally leaves from it. In the previous diagram, we just see how energy enter and flow within the ecosystem, but how the energy leave the ecosystem. Now, I want you to take a look at this diagram. As you can see, there are some arrows that show energy are lost from the ecosystem. Yes, in form of heat. Heat that is lost is due to metabolical processes, especially cell respiration, that produces energy for activity and maintaining body temperatures. Do you know that actually you are a heater, a walking heater, because your body temperature remains about 36, and the heat, to be honest, is lost to the environment. So I hope now you know how energy lost from an ecosystem. So if we make the chart of energy in an ecosystem, it would look like a pyramid. So the energy that is lost from lower trophic level is for sure not available for the higher one, of course, because the energy that you use for activity cannot be part of your body anymore. So it cannot be eaten by the next trophic level. However, heat is not the only form of energy loss, but yes, it is the most. All right. Some other form of energy loss from each trophic level is 1. Some lower trophic level organisms die before they are eaten by higher trophic levels. So it means that the energy from the rabbit, for example, cannot be eaten by the snake if the rabbit is died before the snake consumed them. But of course, this energy will, the detritus will be provided for the decomposer. Number 2, some parts are not eaten. For example, hair and bone. So even though rabbits, if you calculate the total energy in their body, yes, there are some energy in their fur and bones. But of course, the snake usually do not able to consume it or to digest it. So no energy can be absorbed. And next, undigested food from the previous trophic level. So along the life of the rabbit, of course, they have to excrete, they have to ingest. For example, undigestible fiber of grass in rabbit species, it means that the part of the body of the plants cannot be absorbed, the energy in the food, by the rabbit. So it means that energy is lost, cannot be pass to the higher trophic level. So you have learned that energy is gone from one trophic level to another. However, in science, we love to quantify things. So if we have to use numerical expression, what is the percentage of energy transfer from one trophic level to another? For example, like if you use gasoline, how many percent of the gasoline can become your the car, to make the car to move, apart from become heat and sound and so on. So can you guess? So the answer is, you can see, this is a simplified diagram of energy transfer. So you can see primary producer in their body, they have 10,000 joule. That's the unit for energy. And then when it comes to the primary consumer, they eat the food, they eat the plants and become the body, produce body from or grow from the food that they eat. Now the total energy in their body is just 1,000. And then if the grasshopper is eaten by the secondary consumer, the body of the rats that has eaten the grasshopper can only store 100 joule. And then if the eagle eat the mice that worth for 100 joule, but end up in the body of the eagle just 10 joule, because while the eagle is consuming or digesting the mice, the eagle also has to maintain its body temperature. So as the result, only 10% of energy can be stored in the body of higher trophic level. And for your information, joule is the unit for energy. In another word, to store as much as 100 joule in your or my belly, you need to eat 1,000 joule of chicken. It's about 100 grams. Okay? So how, and you will not do this practical work, of course, but how actually scientists can build that pyramid of energy? What do they do to calculate the energy transfer between trophic level? So the first step, they have to choose an area, like a forest or a lake or a meadow or something like that. And then they have to collect random samples of each trophic level that will estimate the total population. Of course, you will not be able to take all the plants and all the animals. All you can do will be sampling. Don't worry, you will do this in your group 4 project. You will also do you will do the real practical work of how to do sampling and estimate the population of certain species in an ecosystem. And then the samples that they have collected, it will be dried. And now it is called biomass, which means that only contain organic matters, no water at all. Then it is measured for its energy content. So there is a measuring tools called calorimeter, where the materials that you want to measure for energy is put in this place, and then they will measure how much temperature of the water will increase from this tool, so that you can measure how much energy will be produced by these organic matters. Right? Now, after they got the unit of joule and also the area, which is meter square, okay, they also will calculate the growth and reproductive rate of each trophic level. So scientists will not just observe the energy transfer in an ecosystem within one day, because why? It is too short. Plants grow, animals grow, so they have to observe it for at least a year. So it is monitored within a year. And they now can estimate the energy accumulation of each trophic level in each year. So therefore, the total energy unit for each trophic level in energy pyramid is counted as kilojoule. Why kilo? Because joule, kilometer means you can save zeros, right? Bigger number. Kilojoule per meter square per year. So how much energy in certain area over 1 year. Or the best way to express the unit is kg m -2 power and year -1 to the power of the unit, right? I hope you understand this. So these are the flow how the data is converted. So the scientists usually will take the random sampling, as I say, and then they got the samples for each fox, rabbit, grass, okay, they can estimate the populations, and then after that they will make them into biomass, dry it, okay, and then after that they will measure for energy using this calorimeter, okay, calorimeter I mean. So after you learn about this, I hope you got the concept. I have a trivial question as a closing. Now, using the concept of energy flow and energy pyramid that you have learned, why most ecosystems do not have a trophic level higher than tertiary consumers? Please think about it, and tomorrow when we come back and meet again, I hope one or some of you can, or even all of you can answer these questions. Thank you.